Can you hear me?
You don't have to record this early.
I just want to make sure I didn't forget.
Yeah, but I would, because then you'll have to trim it. So you could just pause recording.
Done with the ribbon cutting.
Good pro
will.
tip.
All right, Suki, whenever you are ready to kick us off, I think we're good. John, are you good on your end?
Yeah, we're good to go.
All right.
Okay, everybody, thanks so much for joining us for this wonderful ribbon cutting. It's great to see so many people here today. I don't think we've had this many folks on Zoom since the TCAA ribbon cutting. So it's great to see members of the community, members of our chamber. And I just wanted to take a moment to go over some housekeeping items, just to remind you to keep yourself on mute so that you're not disturbing any of the presenters. We will have a Q&A session after John's presentation. So if you have questions, you can either put them in the chat or you can wait until we have the open Q&A and you can open your microphone. I wanted to now recognize the ribbon cutting sponsor for the Tempe Chamber, which is Cox Business. And I'd like to introduce Jihan to say a few words as our sponsor.
Hello. First of all, I want to say thank you to the Tempe Chamber and all of you for your support as we get through this, what we consider this new normal. Yes, the running joke is I haven't left this room in how many months? So as we continue to move through and make our way through this, I just want to send out my appreciation, not only for you guys as business customers, but residential customers and supporting Cox Communications in every way possible. As you can see, we've been at full capacity for probably the betterment of 7 to 8 months right now, and I think we're holding up pretty good. So with that, I would like to thank our Tempe Chamber staff I would like to thank Seniors Helping Seniors and John Skelton for really reaching out and building in the community. I think it's a tribute to who you are as a person. I know we've had, I can say that I've actually had a beer with John Skelton, and then we got into some really detailed conversations, and I just want to say a tribute to you. You're, good man, and good on you for actually coming out and supporting the community. And with that, I believe I turn it back over to Suki. Is that correct? All right.
Sure.
Thank you all for joining.
Thanks, Jihan. Thank you so much for your sponsorship. And we have the official video a little bit later on. So what I want to do is now let you know that you can sign the virtual ribbon by putting your information and good wishes to senior helpers in the chat. And with that, I would like to introduce John Skelton of Senior Helpers of Tempe. I was very happy to learn more about his organization prior to his joining, and I'm a huge fan of the work that his organization does. So John, I will let you take it from here.
Yeah, thank you, Suki. I appreciate it. Thank you, Jihan, for the brief introduction there. And thank you all for joining us. I always get nervous when I host these Zooms or a ribbon cutting, or if I'm doing a webinar, that like 3 people are going to show up. So I really appreciate the turnout that we got today. I was able to reach out to other fellow board members who I see there from the TCAA board, other chamber members, some of our referral sources and our close partners. So I appreciate you all for joining us. We unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, opened our business in March. And about a week after we opened is when the world shut down a little bit. So we didn't really have a chance to spread our wings and start to get out into the community as much as I would have liked. But as we kind of adapted and we learned to work in this COVID environment and go virtual, we're starting to see an uptick in business. And I can certainly say that we've seen an uptick in business since we've joined the chamber. We've got a lot of support, fellow business owners just kind of giving their advice, working through this pandemic, as well as staff members at the chamber that have reached out, expressed interest on how they can help or spread the word. So I thank you all for doing that. The long story short, Senior Helpers, we're a senior in-home care company. So the easiest way for you all to remember that is we do all the non-medical stuff that a nurse or a doctor or someone like that would do. So we'll come into the home. We'll do anything from companionship type stuff, cooking, cleaning, making sure the person doesn't have any falls when they're transferring from the bed, all the way to the more difficult situations, dealing with hospice patients that are bedridden, that are only doing bed baths and need help with toileting and all sorts of personal care. So we really run the gamut. And we have a video from one of our clients and our caregivers just talking about how we were able to help the family, what the caregiver gets out of the work. And I'll let that video kind of run. Our caregiver, she speaks a little bit louder. Sabrina, who is one doing the interview, you'll hear her, but you might have to tone in a little bit closer to hear the client. She's a very soft speaker. So Suki, I think you have that video queued up.
Yes, and I am going to crank the volume. If I can find it. Can you all see it?
Yes.
Okay.
My name is Claudine Bixler. I'm caretaker for my husband, who's 90 years old. I've been with him for 67 of those years. And the last 4 or 5 years, he has been in the care of someone or the care of a caretaker in our home.
My name is Brianna, and I'm the senior helper caretaker for Sam and Claudine. I help around the house, a lot of things Claudine can't do or that she needs me to do so she can help Sam. Sam's getting used to me right now, and I think it's a great fit.
Claudine, is there anything specific that prompted you to reach out to senior helpers?
Actually, it was from Sam's niece who lives in South Dakota. And she was doing research on this because she's very concerned about me. I didn't even know she was doing it, but she was doing research on this. She heard about this company and she called John. And she was so thrilled with John's help and his attitude and how good his line was. So she called me immediately and told me to call John. So that's where it went. I'm very thankful that my Sam's niece did this for me. So
It's great. Claudine, what benefits do you think that you get from having Brianna here?
I get a lot of help. She's will do anything. She's learning some new trades like plumbing from me. And she's very helpful. I have a very bad shoulder that I can't do anything with that arm hardly. So it's great help for me for that. My number one thing I really enjoy is her company, because with this virus going around where we are unable to go and visit our friends, we're not, we can only chat with them over the phone. And it's just been really good for me to have this companion and friend that we get along so well.
Oh, thank you. I also helped you set up your iPad so you can see your friends.
Yeah, tutor for my.
Yeah. So when she wants to just send me off with a chore, then I, hey, go talk to one of your friends on the iPad that we set up, and she'll just go off and hang out.
That's great. Brianna, since you've been with Sam and Claudine, how would you say your experience has been?
Honestly, it's been wonderful. It kind of feels, I know I'm here to help and I'm being paid to help and everything, but honestly, it kind of feels like coming to my grandparents' house and doing all sorts of chores and helping where I can. And sometimes it's hanging out, or listening to stories and stuff, which is super wonderful. And I really enjoy you guys' company, and I love being here.
Oh, guys. And like I've said before, I've talked to Brianna on the phone and Claudine, you a couple different times, and you guys have both expressed how much you guys enjoy each other's company and how you guys just like to play cards or whatever it might be. And I'm really glad that, and that's what she's here for.
Yeah, I'm here for whatever.
If you don't need help around the house or, cleaning or meal preps, that's fine. You
Yeah.
have Brianna here to
Yeah,
be a friend. She's here for your companion. So please.
she is. Sure.
And I'm really glad that you guys have the friendship that you guys have.
Yeah, it happened pretty quickly too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John came over for the assessment and talked to both of us and found out what we were doing and so forth. He made this decision that right now I needed more help than Sam did. And it would be good to get someone in to get Sam used to having that person around. And he made a point that they try to match personalities as well as they can. And he could not have done a better job than what he did for me and Sam. So,
Thank you.
Almost makes me tear up.
Yeah, thank you, Suki, for playing that. So a little background on Claudine and Sam. So Sam, he was like a four-sport athlete back in Iowa. They moved out here when they both finished high school, turned 18. They both moved to Arizona. He, up until probably this time last year, was teaching an aerobics, a water aerobics class at the community that they live in down in Sun Lakes. And he was diagnosed with dementia. He was doing pretty good. And then as soon as COVID hit and they kind of got locked in their homes, Claudine said that they saw a quick decline in his health. And the niece reaching out said, you know, Sam needs a lot of help. He has dementia. He's not moving around as well. And when I got there, he didn't show signs of dementia. He hopped up out of his chair. He was showing off that he could walk pretty quick. And I realized quickly that Claudine needs more help than he does. She was at her wit's end. She had to be there 24/7. She couldn't leave his side. She needed a little bit of respite care, and bringing in Brianna has worked wonders for both of them. They're both a little more active. They're more social now with the iPad set up. They can reach out to friends. So that's one of the better stories that we have to tell in our brief time being open. And I'm glad that Claudine was able to talk to you all, or at least give that testimonial, and as well as Brianna, and talk about her experience. So hopefully that gives you an idea of the type of services that we can provide. There was a little joke in there because Sabrina called one time and was just checking, making sure everything was good. And I guess they were playing cards at the time. And Brianna's like, "Oh, are we not allowed to do that?" And I said, "Oh, that's part of the companionship. That's part of being social and helping her interact." And just that relationship that the two have has gone a long way so far. And Sam, we asked Sam to be on camera, but he's the grumpy old guy that didn't want to be on camera. So we just got Claudine on that one. So thank you. Hopefully that gives you an idea of what we do for our clients.
Awesome. That is absolutely wonderful, John. I loved the video. Now we'll go ahead and open it up for questions. I did put in the chat that if you feel more comfortable typing in the question, I can read aloud to John what that would be. If not, I'll open the floor now. Feel free to either unmute yourself or raise your hand so I can call on you. Questions or comments? I see Brad.
Yeah, I had a quick question. Being that you deal with seniors, what are the challenges that you're facing right now, especially in what's moved to a very quick technological age in a very rapid pace? I can imagine that's got to present some challenges for you guys, and I just figured it'd be a good opportunity for you to talk about that a little bit, as I know you're dealing with the sons and daughters a lot of times too, but the seniors have got to be challenging right now as you're trying to kind of guide them through this new technological way of life.
Yeah, that's a great point. We have one client that has gone through 3 cell phones, probably 2 different phone services, Cox being one. I think he's with Cox now, but he couldn't figure out how to use his phone. He would not hang it upright, so it would never charge. So the handheld set was always dead. And I was going over there pretty regularly trying to explain to him how the phone works, how that particular phone works, not a phone in general. And it was just helping them on a day-to-day basis. And then the caregiver started to step in and help. So it's great that we have younger generation of caregivers that are able to go into the home, set up the iPad, set up the FaceTimes, the Zoom meetings, stuff like that. So we try to tell our caregivers, you guys are the ones bridging the gap right now. They don't have the social experience of going to Rotary Club or going to coffee with their friends. They understand that they're high risk. So giving them the tools they need to interact with their community from their home is one of the things that we're able to help with.
That's fabulous. Thanks, Brad. Thank you for the question. All right, I'm gonna scroll over to the next screen. Does anyone have any more questions? No?
Ariana,
Yeah.
Mike, AKA Bobby, had a question.
Go ahead, Bobby.
Hi guys, this is Mike. Hey, John, I got a question for you. Of your clients, how many veterans do you guys have? Do you know?
We have one veteran right now, so that I'm going to pick up where you left off there, Robert. We are actually licensed to work with the VA, so any veterans that are out there, there's a few different programs for them to get basically free money to help pay for their in-home care. So we have a client that we just recently brought on. He's getting about $2,000 a month in a direct check to him to pay for our services, as well as what they call the homemaker program through the community care network. That's probably going to pay for another 12 to 15 hours a week for our services. So there's plenty of opportunities out there for veterans to use our services. And that's something, joining the MAC with the chamber, that I'm going to try to pursue a little bit further. So thank you.
Excellent. That's where I was going to go with that. So know that whatever we can do between, I'm looking at three of us right there, me, you, and Suki, Suki, and I, whatever we can do on the MAC to help you in that, with that regard, we're all about it. So
yeah, I mean, the veterans have done so much for us. I'm glad that some of these programs exist, and a lot of the veterans just don't know about it. They just got to get the word out a little bit better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Bobby. And we did have a question come in the chat from Greg LaMonica that says, how do you get paid most commonly? Through private pay, insurance, Medicare, etc.?
Yeah, I would say 90% of our pay is private pay. There are certain long-term care insurances that'll pay for what we do, depending on their activities of daily living, what they're able to perform. Most people, when they tap into their long-term care insurance, they usually go into an assisted living facility or something like that. The VA benefits, those will also pay. We have other clients that we have, they're veterans, but they don't qualify for VA stuff, so they have to come out of pocket. So we try to be conscious. It's a balancing act between what the senior needs and what they can afford. So I've walked into homes like these people need 8 hours a day. They're a fall risk. You know, they have medical issues that are prohibiting them. And we just got to figure out, well, they can only afford 4. Where can we be more effective, most effective during those 4 hours? And we figure out that balancing act.
Awesome.
I've got a question, please.
Yeah, go ahead, Lou.
John, what, as members of the community here, what can we do most to help you build your business? What type of referrals are you looking for? And, you know, who can we introduce you to?
Yeah, so thank you for bringing that up, Lou. I think the biggest thing right now is just getting our services out there. I think a lot of people, they understand assisted living facilities. They understand the hospital and skilled nursing and going to rehab and then getting sent home. So the biggest thing is, hey, something outside of home health, someone outside of a nurse coming can do wonders for someone's health within their home. So if you have a elderly family member, friend, neighbor, someone like that, the care burden from a son or a daughter or a neighbor, sometimes that can be overwhelming. It's easy to say, oh, my sister's in town, she's the one that goes and checks on them. And a lot of times they're burnt out, they're overworked. So if you all have anyone you know that's in a situation that could benefit from a little bit more help, our biggest goal is always keeping people safe in their homes. So they might seem okay, they might be living very independently, but a little help goes a long way for some of these people. So just keep us in mind. Our services, a lot of people just don't know about them, so try to get that word out.
Perfect. Thank you, Lou, for that question. I see that Jocelyn has her hand up.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. So I wanted to know, like, if an elderly person that does need help, if they kind of turn down services because they can't pay, and of course Medicare doesn't do a lot for them. Um, if there's something else, I guess I can do personally as I don't know, get like paying for them or whatever it may be. Like, how do you go about that? Because I work for a doctor's office, and I have called John a couple times regarding some elderly patients, and I just had no clue where to go to for, because they only had Medicare.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I don't know what to do. But I
Yeah.
wanted to help them.
And I remember speaking with you, Jocelyn, so thank you for joining us.
Mhm.
That's where we kind of get stuck between a rock and a hard place. So our services, obviously you have to come out of pocket to pay for them. Medicare doesn't really cover it. Sometimes they'll cover if you're coming off of a hospital event or something like that. But there's, I've turned people to TCAA and our Neighbors Helping Neighbors program, depending on what the case is. Some of the lower income people, if they qualify maybe for home delivered meals, I can send them to TCAA. There's different avenues like that. The Area Agency on Aging, they have social workers that are out in the community that'll do wellness checks. They don't provide our services per se, but they'll go in on a weekly basis, make sure that at least they're in a safe environment. We've gotten referrals for low income clients that can only afford 1 or 2 hours. And we'll go out there. I've personally gone out and visited some of them just to make sure. We've helped a client who couldn't afford our services, and she just wanted to get her cat off the street, or not put her cat on the street when she passed away. So we helped her find a shelter for the cat. So I think the reason I got into this business was it was a way to give back. It was a way to provide a service for the community. Obviously, we get paid for it and we make money, but there's also the people that can't afford our services, and I'll never turn anyone away and just say, no, sorry, we can't help you. So Area Agency on Aging, they have their social workers, as well as TCAA and their Neighbors Helping Neighbors, as well as senior independence programs that they have.
Okay. All right. That's very cool.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Are there any other questions, Ariana? I wanted to mention something about caregivers too.
Yeah,
No.
I think we have probably time for 1 or 2 more questions, but I did get a question from Laura at Laura's Gourmet Granola, and she wanted to know if the companion is to remain in the home, or if they're insured to drive the elderly to doctor's appointments, grocery stores, and other areas like that.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll answer that, and then I'll talk a little bit more of our services outside of just companion and personal care. So our caregivers can provide transportation. So if it's a doctor's appointment, a grocery run, pharmaceutical pickup, our caregivers can, on their own, go, hey, I need you to run to the grocery store and pick XYZ up. They'll do that. Or, hey, can I get a ride to the grocery store and do a little shopping? We had one client who, we picked them up in March as a client. They didn't leave their house until July, and our caregiver drove them to Walmart, and they thought it was the greatest thing in the world. They spent about 20 minutes at Walmart. She got exhausted just from walking around the aisles. So we can provide the transportation services as well. There's no added cost to that unless the caregiver drives their own vehicle, then we just do a mileage reimbursement. I've personally gone out and taken clients to get haircuts because they haven't seen a barber in 6 months, 7 months. So we can provide services like that. We can also do what we call like a wellness watch. So a lot of people that have family members, seniors live here, but family lives in California or out of state. They've called us and say, hey, I don't know if mom and dad are doing so well. I haven't seen them in a few months. Do you guys do any type of checks? And we'll do like a weekly drop-in check as well as a daily phone call to make sure that they're doing okay in their homes. That's one of our services. We'll also do like surgery assists. So a lot of times the senior will go into the hospital, they'll have hip replacement, something like that. Family members there post-surgery, but then family member has to go back to work and they don't want mom or dad left alone. We can have one of our caregivers there at the hospital with them, as long as the hospital is allowing visitors, to be their kind of eyes and ears for the family while they're in the hospital. And then a lot of times that gets parlayed into going home with the client, making sure they're safe in their homes. So the great part, the business owners out there will appreciate this. The great part of being the owner is I get to make all the decisions. So if someone needs help in one way, shape, or form, if we can figure out a way to get it done, we're going to figure out a way to get it done.
Awesome. Thank you, John. Does anyone have any more questions? We are running a little short on time, but John will put his information in the chat, or we can send it out to everyone afterwards to make sure that you can get in touch with him if you have any further questions or comments about Senior Helpers of Tempe. And I think with that, Suki, I think it is time to cut the virtual ribbon. So Suki's going to go ahead and share her screen and get a quick little video going for us.
Well, see the ribbon?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yes.
All right.
We see it.
I'm gonna crank it, guys. There you go.
Well, welcome to the Tempe Chamber Senior Helpers of Tempe. Congratulations. Let's give him one more round of applause.
Thank you all. I really appreciate everyone joining too. Thank you.
Of course. And with that, I'm actually going to pass this portion of the event off to Erica Acorn, our Vice President of Business Development, just to finish us off for the afternoon.
Hi guys, wasn't this great to get everybody together in the same Zoom room? John, thank you so much. And I encourage all of you to take this to the next step. Since we're not able to meet in person safely right now, I encourage you to reach out to one another, schedule a Zoom meeting, maybe social distance at our favorite Tempe Chamber coffee spot. I kind of like infusion coffee. So I encourage you all to do that. We have some special people on the call today that I would like to recognize. We have council members Darlene Garland and Robinera Dondo Savage. So thank you guys so much for all that you do for the entire city of Tempe and our little metro region. I'd also like to recognize our board of directors members. We have Tom Bingy, we have Jennifer Midget, and Jihan, who we heard from earlier, who is still in his same room. Sorry, Jihan. And then last but certainly not least, there's a group of folks that are near and dear to my heart. These are the Tempe Chamber ambassadors. So the ambassadors are a great group of people. For those of you who are not familiar, they are our advocates for the chamber. They're a volunteer committee that goes out and helps you get the most out of your relationship. And those folks are Jim Hall, Peter Adams, George, I think you're here too, George Gadzik, yep, Jihan, Brian Stinson, Tom Bingy, and Paul Quinn. If I missed anybody, I'm really sorry. But I encourage you all to reach out to one another and make those connections.
All right, thank you, Erica. And welcome again, John, to the Tempe Chamber.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you to the staff over at the chamber for kind of making this happen, and everyone else for joining. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Pleasure.
All right, everyone have a great afternoon and a great weekend. We'll see you all soon. Thank you guys so much.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, John. Bye, Peter.
Bye-bye.
Make sure to save the chat. I gotta say it for you, John.
Okay, thank you.
You're okay. Bye, everyone.
See you guys later.
Great job, John. Oh, he's gone. Okay. Great job, Ariana.
I'm making sure everyone has the chat saved. You got it, George? He's good. All right, I'm gonna close the meeting. Bye, Pen.